Hello guys and welcome back to another UCL fantasy video. Today I've prepared for you a limitless team for the upcoming Matchday 12. I think this is the one of the best moments to activate the limitless chip, as after that it gets a little bit trickier and trickier because you have to get rid of a lot of players during midweek. But now if you have this chip, I think it's a good time to use it. Of course, some people will say, okay, but I will use it in the semi-final or I will use it in the final, which is quite relevant if you ask me. But at the end of the day, I really do believe that it's now the time because you have a lot of expensive players and a lot of players that will get you a lot of points, because the fixtures are still not that difficult to predict. Of course, there is an option for you to save it further down the road, as I mentioned before, but I really do believe that if you haven't used it, now is the time. So I decided to prepare a Matchday 12 Limitless team. It is not going to be that different from the general team because, yeah, fixtures are fixtures, but you'll be able to get rid of some players and get the better players into the team. Before that, I'm going to analyze the fixtures, of course, to help you see why I'm picking those players or help you make the decisions on your own, because at the end of the day it is your team and you have to make the decisions, not me. If you want to support me and show appreciation of the content that I create, please subscribe to the channel. I already passed 3k subscribers, but now I'm aiming for 5. So let's see how much time it's going to take me. Let's see if we can reach 3.2k before the start of the week. I know it's a pretty high number, but I still believe in you guys because you're the best community ever and I feel so blessed having you. But let's go and see now the fixtures and stop talking gibberish. Looking at the fixtures, there are some that are already over in my opinion, but there are some that needs to be decided still. We start with Barcelona versus Benfica, and I think that's a really good fixture to have as a first one because you can adapt easily your lineup from Barcelona's players. They've got their game postponed because of a death of one of their medical staff members, so rest in peace to that guy. But they will not be postponing the UCL fixture also. We'll see who is starting, and they have a victory of only 1 goal, and that's simply not enough. And I think that focusing on Barcelona players here will be good for your team because they will need to fight for a result to go through. Benfica, of course, will be fighting also, but I still believe that with 10 versus 11 men, they didn't manage to score, and now 11 versus 11, I still don't fancy them winning. And I really do believe that with the way that is, Barcelona is going to go through, so I'll be heavily investing in that Barcelona side. Then we go to Leverkusen versus Bayern Munich. I believe that Leverkusen can get a result, but I really do believe that Bayern Munich is going to go through, and yeah, they're just going to proceed forward into the tournament. 3-0, it's a very big gap. I don't think they're losing by 3 goals difference. So especially when Florian Wirtz is going to miss the game for Bayer Leverkusen. If he was there, yeah, I can see it happening, but now, no way. I believe that Bayern Munich is through, and I think that they will be facing the team after it. It's Inter Milan versus Feyenoord. They defeated Feyenoord away from home, and it was a pretty easy and convincing victory. I think that in UCL, Inter are a very, very good team, and I will not be looking away from their fixture. So yeah, I really do believe that Inter are proceeding forward versus Feyenoord. So I think it's one game where you can get a lot of defensive good returns, and Feyenoord is just going to exit the tournament. Liverpool versus PSG, it's very unpredictable, but the way that PSG played in the first game, I think that they will want to score a lot of goals in order to proceed, but Liverpool will be playing well. I think that I will follow the strategy here to pick one player from each side because I think goals are happening. I know that in the first game that didn't happen, but it was pretty close to a very high scoring game, and it was going to be PSG with a lot of goal scorers. Now it's a little bit tricky to predict, but I still believe Liverpool are proceeding through. Then we move to Lille versus Dortmund, and here it's everyone's game. I think that is the only game where I cannot say with certainty, okay, this team is proceeding or this team is proceeding. But at the end of the day, I really do believe that Dortmund are going through. Lille have been a little bit struggling in the league. Dortmund have been. Also, all the German sides lost on Saturday, but I still do believe that Dortmund are going to win it. Arsenal PSV, I expect a little bit of rotation, so here I will be very, very cautious with Arsenal players, but I really do believe that they don't have a lot of depth. in order to rotate that much, so some of the players will be involved either way, and I'll be relying on some of them because PSV are in an awful form, and yeah, Arsenal just going to get the victory here. I have to see which players to go for, but I have something in mind. Aston Villa versus Bruges, now it's at home. I do believe that Aston Villa are going to lock it up and take it away and win it, so I will be getting some Villa players into the side. And Atletico versus Real Madrid, it's going to be everyone's game, but I really do believe that this is Real Madrid's tournament and Real Madrid are going to go through. So now let's go and see how the team is going to look, because I have some tough decisions to make and I want to be as clear as possible with them and to have the best team possible to go into the quarterfinals basically. Starting in goal, I will be starting with the goalkeeper from day one. I know that is Wojciech Szczęsny for Barcelona. The thing about it is that we will know who starts in goal for Barcelona, and for a Limitless that is a very good thing to have. Of course, there is Inter Milan on the first day, and I think their team defensively is better, but I still cannot predict if Sommer or Martinez is going to start in goal, so I'm going to rely on the keeper that I know for certainty. And with Limitless being used, you need certainty, not someone that may start or may not start, blah blah blah. I really do believe that Szczęsny is going to be that guy for Barcelona that start. I know he's cheap at 4 million and Limitless is basically wasted on him, but sometimes you have to pick the best players, not the most expensive ones, and having a certain keeper helps. Of course, you can go with Courtois, who plays for Real Madrid, and I think that they will try to lock it up defensively, but I fancy Szczęsny to keep a clean sheet more, and as mentioned, we'll know he starts for sure, but it's him versus Courtois in my eyes. Of course, there is Donnarumma versus Alisson, but as I mentioned, I expect goals to be scored by both teams, so I will be still not relying on any of their defenders. I know that this may sound risky, but it's my style of play, and that's how I see the game's going. Then we go for David Raya. I expect a lot of rotations in the defensive department from Arsenal, because they need to keep their best players fresh and fit. But David Raya, I don't think is going to get rotated. I don't think anyone else will get game time, so that's why I'm going in that direction. Of course, you can go for Kobel, who faces Lille. You can go for Chevalier, depending on who you predict is going to go through. Of course, you can risk it with some other... so Courtois wasn't in the first day. Sorry, I was talking gibberish. Courtois, you can risk it in the second day. In the first day, you can risk, yes, Alisson and Donnarumma. Then you have Inter Milan keeper, and the other fixture, if I'm not mistaken, was, yes, Bayern Munich, but I'm not going Bayern Munich, Bayern Leverkusen. But yes, sorry, on the second day you can go with Courtois. Yeah, here I made a little bit of mistake, but yeah, I still believe that David Raya is the best keeper to go from the second day. Arsenal at home against a hurt PSV side that are not playing for anything. I think they will rotate PSV in the Champions League and keep their best players for the league, as this is the only thing that they will be winning. So yeah, Ryan Szczęsny make the goalkeeper department. Now let's move into the defensive line, because it gets trickier and trickier there with a lot of players being out. But yeah, let's go and see it. Going into defense, I've decided to split the teams into, not the teams, but the team into two different sections. So day one and day two. I didn't want to go as heavily on day one because I had the opportunity of Trent, I had the opportunity of Hakimi, I had the opportunity of more Inter Milan players, but I wanted to have a fair split in order to have someone to come on from the bench, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. We start with the Inter defensive line, as we're not going with their keepers, as we don't know who is starting. We for certain know who is starting in defense, and I here could have went with three guys pretty comfortably. I'm not going to go without Dumfries. I still think that he's the best defensive asset at this time of the fixture, and playing as a wing back, it's just amazing for him. Bastoni on the other side is his counterpart. Of course, he's not as attacking, but I still believe that he can get a lot of attacking returns and some defensive solidity. So Bastoni and Dumfries are basically my left and right wing back in that formation. I think that this is the way to go, and Inter, I can pick 4 defenders here and I'll feel pretty content, to be fair, but I wanted to spread a little bit for you to have some diversification. Then we move to Grimaldo. I know that it's counterintuitive to go for a Bayer Leverkusen player at this time of the tournament, but I still do believe that if you're not aiming to clean up your team from players that are out, Grimaldo still can return good and can be with some amazing attacking returns. He was close in the first game. He's ever present around that Leverkusen team everywhere. But yeah, now without Wirtz probably not playing, and with him and Leverkusen being out of the tournament in general, I think that Grimaldo is still a good option to have at this time around. But honestly, do I feel like it can happen? Yeah, they can go through, but I think it's very unlikely. I think that Bayern Munich has that locked up. You can go for a defensive asset for Bayern Munich, but I think Leverkusen will attack like crazy and will try to get the best offensive returns as possible. Then we move to Ben White and Ben Sabiani. They are risky players for day 2. Ben Sabiani didn't start the previous one, but the left back counterpart got an injury in UCL. So Ben Sabiani is not going to be rotated by anyone else. So I really prefer him over Schlotterbeck. I don't know if Lille or Dortmund are going to go through, but I really do like how Ben Sabiani plays, and I will be going for him without a shadow of a doubt. And Ben White is a little bit of a rogue pick here. I'm going to pick him if he does not play a lot of minutes against United. Here you can pick Ben White, Timber, Scaly, Calafiore. Whoever is not used in the league, they will be used in Champions League to gain some minutes, and Ben White can even be utilized as a center back, so that's why I'm picking Ben White here. I think that he will have to gain some fitness, and the game against PSV where there is not going to be a lot at stake, I think it's a good fixture for Ben White. Of course, I've not included Liverpool PSG players because I expect them to concede both. I have not included Bayern Munich players because I still do believe that it may be a little bit tricky to keep a clean sheet away from home, but you never know. I can add more Inter Milan players, I can add Real Madrid players, I can add Barcelona players, but I wanted to have a little bit of diversified defense and stack up on only one team. And then moving forward, I will be looking at Dumfries, Bastoni as very good picks. The other three probably will be out of the defense, but that's why Limitless it's used, because it's only for this week and we don't care for any future things that may or may not happen. Going into midfield, I think here it basically picks itself and it's not going to be that hard to pick it. We start with Dembele versus Salah. Of course, we have a nice split of 3 versus 2 in the first and in the second day. I quite fancy that split because I feel like the better fixtures are on the first day this time around. But Dembele versus Salah, I think both guys are the talismanic guys from their team. Honestly, Dembele was out of this world in the first fixture. Kvaratskhelia was also, don't get me wrong, but Dembele was a different class. He was left, right, center, everywhere. He was making fun of McAllister and Robbo. It was just an amazing performance by the Frenchman. He is being in a very hot form at the moment. He scored 2 goals in the weekend after coming on as a sub. Like, that guy is very clinical and very good at the moment, and if PSG want to have something of a chance, I think Dembele is the guy to make it possible. Mohamed Salah, I think currently has the best form in the world. Maybe apart from Dembele, I feel like this season he's playing out of his mind. And after the poor first game performance, I still believe that in the second one he will make amends and he will be playing way better. So I really do believe that Salah will be a very vital point if Liverpool are to go forward. I think that they will not be able to keep a clean sheet, so they will have to score a goal. And if someone is involved, that's going to be Salah. So I think Salah and Dembele basically pick themselves up. Rafinha, first guy that comes to my mind when I think about Barcelona at the moment. Scored the winner. I don't know how the hell didn't he win the man of the match after such an amazing performance, because if without him they were not winning absolutely anything. But this guy plays amazingly well. Yes, Yamal is an option, but I feel like if the game is going wrong, Yamal can be subbed off while Rafi is going to stay there for the full duration. So I really do believe that Rafi is that amazing of a pick, and I really do believe that he's the best captaincy option for Matchday 1. So I will, for day 1 and Matchday 12, so I will possibly go there. But yeah, I'm not starting my week without Rafinha. Asensio got a rest during the week. Of course, you can go with Rodgers here, as Rodgers is absolutely nailed on to start. But Asensio, I think that being on pens, at the moment is quite interesting. Also, him having a really good performance is quite interesting. So I may prefer Asensio over Rodgers. Of course, Rodgers is nailed for those minutes, but Asensio, if you're on a limitless, I would risk it, and that would be it, as I really don't think that it gets anything much fancier or better than Asensio. But yeah, I really do like how Asensio plays. And the final guy here is Bellingham. If Wirtz was fit, I was going to say that Wirtz was a hold, but now with his injury and him being on crutches and probably missing the game against Bayern Munich, I would go for Bellingham here. It's a day 2 fixture, so that's even better for everyone that is on players, because you get him and you're done with your team for day 2. So you'll be having a perfect player for day 2. He's suspended in La Liga, was suspended in the Champions League, so he will be fully fresh and fully fit to go and tear up the opposition. Of course, a lot can happen and a lot of things can change around the structure, but yeah, Bellingham is starting no matter what. Here you can risk it with Bayern Munich players, you can risk it with more PSG players, you can risk it with who else, with more Barcelona players, with some Inter guys. You can risk it left, right and center, but I really do believe that Bellingham is the right player to aim for and to invest into. So yeah, I'm not going to expect much changes here in that midfield, because honestly it picks itself in my eyes. Going into attack, I can honestly see why this team is very possible. If you are not on a limitless, I think it's still very possible. But if I wasn't going for a cheap keeper, I would be exceeding my budget. And that's with some players in mind that I have not picked, more Liverpool defenders, etc, etc. But yeah, this team, basically, it's very good. I really like it. Up front, Guirassy. Of course, I'll be starting with Guirassy. I know that he blanked once again, 2 times in a row, and he didn't perform in the league. But if Dortmund are winning, I think that Guirassy will be involved. Of course, in midfield, you can pick Adeyemi, you can pick Gittens. Those players are very viable. But Guirassy for me is the vocal point of that attack. And if something happens on the counter, or if a penalty appears or something like that, Guirassy is going to take it. If he goes out, of course, you will be taking him out of your team. But for now, I think he stays. Then moving into Mbappe, I'm relying on Real Madrid winning the game, as they need to do in order to qualify. It's not a must because they can get a draw, but it's not in the DNA of Real Madrid to go for a draw. So I'll be honestly looking at Mbappe as a very viable target for the forward position. And the final guy here is going to be Robert Lewandowski. He's one more player for day 1. So you have 2, 4, 6, 7 players for day 2, which is pretty much enough. If you ask me, if you have more than 4, it's completely fine. But yeah, Leva, day 1, forward against Benfica, you will know if he starts or not. And at at the Olympic Stadium in Spain, he can do some serious damage. So he is going to be a very vital part of that team going forward. Of course, you can pick players from Atleti, Griezmann, Alvarez, they have been performing all right, but I really do believe that Barcelona will be scoring a lot of goals at home with 11 men this time around. So I really do believe that it's a very great possibility for them to go through and to score some goals. Now in defense, you can go Araujo, you can go Inigo Martinez, because now Kubarsi is suspended, and that means that the defense is locked up, but I really do believe that you should focus on that attack. And Leva and Rafi are the best guys for the team. Of course, here I'm missing guys like Watkins, a guy like, who else am I missing? Alvarez, Lautaro, Pavlidis, Jonathan David. Yes, you can go in that direction, but I really do believe that those 3 are the forwards to go for. To be fair, that team, if I activate the Limitless, it's not very different from my real side. Like, another Inter defender, but I have the goalkeeper Barcelona, so they switch around. I have an Arsenal defender, so those 3 are locked. I have Asensio, I have Rodgers over Asensio, so only differences are basically Wirtz with Bellingham and Alvarez with Lewandowski. So I can easily get to something like that without using the Limitless, but if you want some cheeky picks, that's the way to move it. I don't know if that's going to be your strategy or not, but I really do believe that you have to have some interesting picks for your team in order to justify the Limitless, because the main guys picks themselves, and after that it's yeah, it's easy to select the other players. But yeah, if you agree or disagree with this team, please put it down in the comment section. It's very important for me to see your feedback. As per usual, special shout out to the members of the channel: Seth, Florin, Zach, Oscar, Papas, Kauser, and Hem. Thank you so much for contributing to my channel, becoming members. Florin and Kauser with a lot of gifted members also. Thank you very much. If you guys want to become members of the channel, there is a quick link in the description. Or if you don't want to spend money, just press that subscribe button. It helps me reach my goals and it will help me grow massively. Thank you in advance for having me as the content creator you go for the UCL Fantasy. It means the world to me. Like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. That's the most important thing. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.